All right, Never Finished by David Goggins. We've got another good one here. His first book, if you don't know, is called You Can't Hurt Me. This was so good. The first book was his memoir. It was just terrific and surprised everybody. He self-published it. His who was to be his publisher told him he wasn't going to do anything, and then it's on the New York best list for like, I don't know, unprecedented number of weeks to be self-published. People loved it. He's following it up with Never Finished. Now, I thought, okay, well, David, you hit it once. What else can you say about mental toughness, discipline, waking up, making choices that are good for you despite your feelings? There's only so much you can say on that subject. I'm going to tell you what. There's something about David's writing that just like gets you invested in him, and feels like he's your advocate, and that's why the books are effective. It's not like other self-help books where it's some guy that studied the issue but doesn't partake in the practice himself, but then guides other people. Like he's a coach that doesn't perform. David is a performer. Like he's out running ultras, 240 miles in the Moab, and then he writes a book. So it's not like somebody that's washed up and did this 15 years ago and he's writing a book about it. No, he is active in practicing all of what he talks about in these books, and so when you're reading it, it just feels different. I don't know. It does for me anyway. It makes a bigger impact and true lessons. When you can get the information from a direct source of somebody that's living what he's talking, it's accurate. Like it's going to work. And I think that's why the book resonates more than other self-help books. And he did it 2 times in a row. Both books, excellent. And these books you pick them up so that you can find motivation, inspiration, and use it as a way to reflect on what you're doing and how to improve your performance. And you think some of these books do that and some of these books don't. This book does. I mean, just anytime I'm gonna want to train for something or perform an audit on my performance, I'm gonna use this book to remind myself, the down-to-earth things I need to do. And very few books like you can do that with, So I would call it successful. And it has to do with mental strength, but then you get a little bit about a story, which is interesting. So you're also getting a little bit of a narrative to it. It's just not a how-to book. It's a little bit of his life story also. And then you get exposure to ultra-marathon running and endurance races and all the body breakdown that happens with that. I mean, there's a lot to do with that. And then, of course, when you're faced with any sort of challenge, how to overcome that, how to respond to failure, it covers it all. It says on the back, this is not a self-help book, it's a wake-up call. Of course, he's on the Joe Rogan show. Joe gives an endorsement of the book, but I mean, those are the big highlights for me. I really enjoyed it. I was not looking forward to reading it just because I thought, well, it's going to be another, get up early, work hard, book. And in some ways it is, but I think the fact that you almost relate to him harder, it's like, it's tough to say that because I'm not running 240 miles, but like in some ways you can. I think it's because he's practicing what he's preaching. I think that makes the difference for this book. It's just listening, author that is actually telling you what he's doing rather than, a coach, put it that way. And, great story, great storytelling about his relationship with his mom, with his grandparents, particularly his granddad, and learning how to do chores and work around the house early in life when everybody else was playing and getting gifts at Christmas. He didn't have any of it, what that taught him. So much good stuff in here, and you just root for him, and then you think, well, if he can do it, he pulled himself out of, less than what most of us have, and he did it. And so if he can do it, we can. That was part of it that was effective too. So, I'm just interested in following him. What another cool thing is, I hear his audiobook for this is excellent. They say that his mom gives 3 hours of extra in addition to just the book audio. So I haven't heard it, but I would probably, based on that, recommend finding the audiobook and listening. But, I'm I like following him. I like looking him up every 4, 5, 6 months and seeing what he's doing, where he's at. That's another thing. A lot of this book took place in 2015 to 2022. And you can go to YouTube and pretty much see, all of what he's talking about. If you YouTube the Moab race and you YouTube some of the other things he talks about in this book, you can find the video of it, which is cool. You can follow along with the video. But excellent book. Pick it up. He did it a second time. That's all I can say about this book. If you're weary, go get it, because it was effective for me, and I didn't think it would be. And I actually enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. I couldn't put it down, which was interesting because it's kind of a personal development book. So that's my endorsement. Not the best book of the year, but I mean, very effective in its category and unique because it's a guy that is not a writer. So really cool, really unique, kind of its own thing. Go check it out. Never Finished by David Goggins.